It feels almost surreal to be reviewing a Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game in 2020, let alone one that I really enjoy, and yet, here we are, with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. In fact, there's a lot about this new package that feels gloriously out of step with the times. The soundtrack, gameplay mechanics, and general attitude are original era accurate, and for the most part, the game is all the better for it. All that said, referring to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 as a package of remasters for the original two games in the series, which the game's official marketing does explicitly, doesn't feel like an accurate representation of what's actually on offer here. Instead, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 feels more like a greatest hits compilation, combining the content of those two games into one cohesive experience, with added quality of life improvements from the later games, new skaters to choose from, a shallow but fun online experience, and more. The great news then is that at its core, everything you loved about the golden age of video game skateboarding is intact and ready to be adored all over again. As someone who both cut my teeth on the original Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and got incredibly invested in Tony Hawk's Underground 1 and 2, I was able to pick up the game with relative ease and feel completely at home again in a matter of hours. This is not simulation skateboarding. Your goal is to pull off reality-defying combos that would make even the Birdman himself shake in his boots. Make no mistake, from controls to physics, this new reimagining feels like a true Tony Hawk game. And that's a feeling I hadn't realized I missed so dearly for the past two console generations. Developer Vicarious Visions, which recently brought us the stunningly revisited Crash Bandicoot N. Sane trilogy, has worked their magic once more on THPS 1 and 2's presentation. While not a technical stunner in today's landscape, the game visually holds its own, with solid textures, effective ambient lighting, and realistic reflections. What's more impressive is the seamless translation of the game's grunge-fueled aesthetic nearly 21 years after its original release. In a time when clean, minimalist user interfaces dominate the mainstream, Tony Hawk's presentation feels like it's got teeth, without feeling out of date or tacky. The vast majority of the first two games' soundtracks have made their way into this new package, and I can't begin to express what a delight that is. In a time that generally eschews the hit pack compilations of yesteryear, THPS defiantly brings its soundtrack to the forefront, making sure that Goldfinger's Superman mentally launches you right back into your beanbag chair, and Rage Against the Machine's Guerrilla Radio makes you want to thrift a pair of Jinko jeans and, okay, never mind, that's too far. But if the likes of Primus, Millencolin, Powerman 5000, and Lagwagon don't bring you rip-roaring back into the late 90s and early 2000s with a smile on your face, I'm not sure what will. In terms of what you'll actually be doing in the game, it's a lot of what you'll remember. The campaign consists of facing each map with a set of challenges, from setting high scores to finding secret tapes to opening 5 water valves to create a flood in a dam, all within a 2-minute time limit. Some of these challenges are as absurd and difficult as they were back in the day, but high scores and combos feel significantly easier with the addition of nearly endless manual combinations, revert combination extensions, and more. That's not a gripe by any means. Some of the more bizarre challenges make me very grateful that the basic ones feel far more attainable. Multiplayer can be a blast both locally and online, but don't expect anything revolutionary. Score challenge, combo challenge, trick attack, combo mambo, graffiti, tag, and horse are all present and accounted for, with casual and competitive modes to choose from. It's worth noting that I experienced framerate issues and some general response slowdown both locally and online with a strong connection on PS4 Pro. There was nothing game-breaking to speak of, and your mileage may vary, but it didn't go unnoticed. My only real gripes with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 are the lack of creation options. Create-A-Skater and Create-A-Park are both on hand, and the new tools for park creation feel especially well thought out. The issue is that they're both in dire need of some personality. I've got some great memories of creating some truly upsetting looking skaters in the original Tony Hawk games, and the games gave me the freedom to do that. Bodily, facial, and hair customization feels stilted by comparison, and many of the attire options are locked behind an in-game paywall and are limited to essentially t-shirts and hoodies with different brand logos. There's a great deal of options in building the structures for your skate parks, but not much beyond that. Simple objects like water barrels are again locked behind the in-game paywall, and the general feel of each stage is locked to 4 basic looks. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but it's certainly disappointing in a remake that largely feels as though it nails most other aspects. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 coasts largely on the nostalgia its predecessors have generated, and this is an instance where that's totally okay. There was a real hole left in the gaming market when Tony Hawk games ceased to be, and where last generation's HD remaster left players yearning for a game that really felt like Tony Hawk should, and THPS 5 happening, this feels like an absolute prime time to capitalize on bringing current generation gamers an authentic Tony Hawk experience. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 is just that, and it has me wanting more. I think it's time to see now what Vicarious Visions could do with a title in the franchise that isn't weighed down by the restrictions of reminiscence.